Hello and welcome to our today's event or initiative about relocation support. Thomas Asemota, my colleague, and I, Friederike Ruch, will now lead you through the next about 30 minutes. When we decided to do that event, we thought about our daily business and all the relocation companies asking us for support or having questions around different legal aspects. And then we thought that maybe other relocation companies would also have the need as well, would like to have someone they can reach out to and get the support which they need for their daily business. Therefore, we thought we will start something like this event. So kind of introducing us to you, or to at least the ones which don't know us, and as well as telling you a bit more about what we see, what we think the challenges are, and what you can expect from us, as well as what we can do for you. And we were thinking about then also having a couple of other sessions like this one, where you will get a bit more information. We can learn, basically we can learn from each other. What you can expect now in the next 30 minutes, and before I get to that, on the right-hand side, you first of all see the slides from today's presentation. So if you would like to download them, please do so. And the other important part is there's the box about the questions. So in case you have any kind of questions and you would like to write them down to us, please do so. We will take them on in the last bit, and you see that here on the slide. When we are at 5 your questions, we will answer all the questions. Most likely, and we had in the morning the same session just in German. In the end, we just picked out 3 questions which we answered, and all the others we are answering then by email thereafter. So also in case you don't want to write down anything right now because you would like to focus on listening to us, no problem at all. You can reach out to us later on and we will reply to you by email, or also can have it verbally. In the first step, I would like to introduce you to conveners. Then I will say something about our team, or at least the 3 people who will be your main, or could be your main contact if you would like to work with us. And then my colleague Thomas will take over and tell you a bit about the services we see you maybe can use as well or need as well as the challenges and the solution to it. Now, who is Convenus? Convenus is a global mobility company. We were founded more than 20 years ago and specialized in the field of global mobility. We we are advising companies, supporting companies in any kind of global mobility matter. That can be tax, social security, payroll, immigration, labor law, HR topics, or everything there is, we will deal with. Now, our firm is focused, or Convenus itself is only in Switzerland situated, but we will deal with everything in Switzerland. So it doesn't matter in which canton in which canton you are, or in which canton the matter is, we shall deal with. If we look at the international part, we have a wonderful own global network in which we have lots of different partners also focusing on global mobility matters that are either tax experts or immigration lawyers or labor lawyers. So whoever we need, we will then reach out and take on board for whatever matter there is. Now we come to the even a bit more important stuff. about introducing us. I start with myself. I'm in the global mobility world, or in the different topics around global mobility, since now a bit more than 25 years. One topic I deal on the daily basis is tax, social security, but it's also then immigration, payroll stuff, and payroll is coming even more now into the focus for international or cross-border employment, because that is something which is quite important to consider. Now, immigration is also one of the bigger challenge we are going through, and I'm happy to have two super colleagues who are actually can help you with everything in this regard. This is one, on the one hand, Brisida Alani, as well as Thomas Asamota. Thomas is today with us in the English session. With Brisida, I did this morning the German session. We kind of split it up. Thomas, his focus is really the immigration, any immigration matter from companies as well as individuals. He is dealing with that on a daily basis. In addition to advising for getting work permits and residence permits, it's also about the C permit, so the permanent residency, as well as the citizenship. Thomas has more than 15 years experience in that, so he is the perfect person to talk to. He's also publishing regularly as well as speaking to us. So you may have, if you have looked at our newsletter or even at our global mobility alert, you most likely have already read something from him. In addition, I said I just would like to introduce Brisida Alani as well, even she's now not with us for this session. She is also working since more than 10 years now with us and dealing with the immigration matters as well. Behind both of them, there is a team. So depending on the capacities and depending on the needs, there are people supporting them as well. With that, I will hand over to my colleague Thomas, who will then discuss with you what we can do for you and what the challenges are.
Thank you, Friederike. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'll briefly explain to you or try to elaborate on our services. Here you see an overview, what we offer. We offer general legal advice in permit law, which is a core field of our practice, as well as tax law. And also we also support other or tenancy law. It can also be linked to employment law, and of course also a core service of ours is supporting with social security and also any matters relating to domestic employment in Switzerland. Of course, with our partners abroad in over 100 countries, we also provide permit law assistance support and all these services as well. So in regard to permit law, I would basically just say, of course, that there are work permits, resident permits, you have also the permanent permits, and it can also be just applying for family reunification and any topic in that regard. There's basically no field which we have not touched or we don't touch in our practice. So it all depends on what issues arise. So we are really equipped to support you in this. Tax law, we have a tax team as well. So there it's basically has to do with, because we deal with cross-border employment. So it would be also in regards to tax filing, tax declarations, exemption from tax, or it could also be exemption for assignees, exemption from health insurance, and also that's also part of the social security. And when it comes to local employment, everything, we review employment contracts. We also review assignment contracts or letters. And so actually there's basically all these fields have to do with international employment or employment of foreign nationals. In regards to additional services which we offer, I already mentioned registrations. That's also a process mostly for everyone. So depending on the kind of permit someone receives, for example, if someone will be employed for a duration of 5 months, a registration would be necessary if the person decides to reside in Switzerland. If the person decides to reside abroad, for example, in the EU or EFTA, then the person would require a cross-border permit. So this registration can be tricky. It requires also, of course, apart from the documents of employment or assignments, also the rental contract for apartments. And sometimes it's a real challenge to get an apartment, as everyone probably knows, or very expensive. So what we usually do is also we use the notification procedure, which is of course only possible for employees based in the EU, EFTA, and also in the UK, but not local persons from the UK who are employed in Switzerland. So, and as I also mentioned, our tax and the social security team also handles things for Switzerland. Of course, with our partners, we also deal with payroll. Shadow payroll is probably something you must have heard about. And of course, compliance. A simple example would be if someone has an air permit in Switzerland, the person wouldn't be allowed to spend more than 3 months abroad. If not, the person will lose the permit. So we also navigate such cases. We reapply for permits. We also apply for the maintenance of a C permit. It's only possible for C permits to freeze them, so to speak, for up to 4 years. And this has to be done within a period of 6 months. So before the person spends more than 6 months. That is very tricky. And we have had cases where we have even had to litigate in such cases. Now I would go to our next slide regarding the challenges that you probably were excited to hear what challenges you have. Some of you have already shared issues you have, and we also try to detail our solutions, because for every challenge there is definitely a solution, and our goal is of course to provide a solution which is compatible with the needs of the employees and also of course the employers. As you may know, Switzerland is a confederation with 26 cantons, and these cantons are actually like states. So if you would apply for an application in Zurich or in Geneva or in Ticino, you already have 3 languages, German, French, and Italian. And I can guarantee you that the procedures are actually quite different from the start to the end. For example, for a local employment, how long does the job need to be posted? What requirements need to be fulfilled? Of course, the federal law stipulates all this, but every canton has some add-ons. So there are definitely legal challenges. I mean, in our praxis, we have various issues which we deal with, and which most of the cases we find a suitable solution. For example, in the area of residence permits, we have a current case now where someone needs to travel. It's a multi-traveler actually based in Switzerland. And of course, it's a challenge to stick within the 6-month limit. in Switzerland, and so that is where it's important to contact us on time so that we can, right from the beginning, clarify what is required. And of course, it's always important to know which canton we are in, or the person is employed, or has his residence. So it also is so different where the employer is and where the person lives. So there are always issues. The demand for skilled workers is high, and due to this, the demand for relocation services as well, of course. I mean, they go hand in hand. Not all persons require visas, but there's still a limit, even though, for example, an American would not require a visa to travel to Switzerland for 3 months or 90 days. Work usually always requires, especially for local employment, a work visa, for example. So in that case, relocation is rather not a top issue, but of course they also always need a place to stay. And what we usually encounter is cases where someone was assigned to Switzerland for only 3 months or 4 months without taking up residence in Switzerland, and now needs to stay longer. So of course we handle that as well, extending the permit or converting it to another one. We usually have a very common permit for short-term assignees is a 120 days permit or visa for those that require visa. And usually we are asked to extend it to a duration of about 6 months. So that application needs to be done, approved, and the registration also has to be done in order for a person to be entitled to work with a new permit. Another topic I'll briefly touch on is, as everyone is basically aware, there's a lot of digitalization going on. There are multiple systems and there's a lot of data. So due to which we need better tracking systems. We have immigration systems. We're also working on one for the notification procedure to track the number of days an employee has used, or the employer has used in a calendar year. And of course, if you have multiple people using notification procedure, meaning employees who are employed in the EU, EFTA, and also in the UK, as you may have also heard in the news, the agreement with the UK has also been extended, so until the year 29. So the notification process can also be used for those employees. So notification meaning work authorizations for up to 90 days in a calendar year. So of course, sustainability and as I also mentioned before, multilingualism is also very important. And we have, for example, Brigitte Alani in our team speaks French, Italian, German, and of course also English. And we have also other people who have other languages. So we are able to assist employees and employers in all these areas. There are a lot of legal and administrative challenges which relocation providers often face. And due to our expertise, we are willing to support in whatever matter which we cover. And in case we cannot provide a service, we also have, of course, our partners, which we also work with. So actually, we can handle, as you can see here, we can handle the entire visa application process, also the work permit process, which is a separate process, which is initiated at the place of work, usually at the Labor Market Authority, and also, of course, the resident permit, which is for employees who need to reside in Switzerland or wish to reside in Switzerland or have a contract which is at least for it, which has been signed for at least a duration of 5 months. So of course, there's also the cross-border commuters, which we also apply for. They are mostly from the EU, EFTA, and we also support with that. And the laws, they change, and also, of course, the practice in the canton or the way they handle things. Sometimes the information is not transparent, or we only get to know about it once an application has been filed. But for whatever challenges you may have, we can also, what we also do, we also contact the authorities also beforehand, so that we can outline the process and streamline the process, of course. Of course, cases which are combined, where they are family members, children, and all, they're more taxing. Also short-term assignments. It's very important that at the beginning of such an assignment, not only at the beginning, but throughout the assignment, that the employees can concentrate on their work and not on permit issues. So even, of course, searching for an apartment is already tedious. Then imagine also not finding one and needing to stay abroad for a while, or without a registration. Of course, it's not possible to register for a school, mostly, as the children can't. So at the end of the day, we are in direct contact with most authorities in Switzerland, the Federal Immigration Authority, which is State Secretariat for Immigration, and of course the cantonal immigration or migration authorities, the way they are called. Some cities also have their own immigration authorities, like Bern has about 3 communal immigration authorities or municipal immigration authorities. So it's our job to know who, and we have contact also with the various authorities. If necessary, usually we contact them beforehand or during, and we can do all that for you because we have the experience. Now I'll briefly explain what solutions we offer and which we can provide. And important is that the goal of anything we do is, of course, what the end consumer, what the employers and the employees, assignees, their family members, what their requirements are, what their needs are. So, and we streamline the process in such a way that we don't have multiple communications. We can either, for example, for family members, it's sensible to also have contact with the spouse, if that is desired, so that we don't need to provide information to the employer, and the employer now translates it and sends it somewhere else. And at the end of the day, it takes so much time, and at the end, the questions are not cleared. So we offer an integrated process where all our services come to play. Immigration, that's also the permit application process, the visa application process if it's necessary, and also the application for the residence permits, and also, of course, with the flat search or apartment search, and also the registration process. We can offer all that, actually. So it all depends on what your teams require. And we're there to support. As I also mentioned before, we have digital platforms which we use, case managed, which are secure and keep your data safe. And it also enables us to track the permits, for example, and also this is reporting. We'll provide reporting on how many cases are still pending, what needs to be done, what are the next steps. So at the end of the day, it's a better customer experience with a complete coordination of all efforts. Is what we offer. And that speeds up the timelines, or the time of getting the permits or the registration confirmations, We of course also confirm what is required for the spouse, for example, to work, what document is required. Is the registration confirmation sufficient? Is the visa sufficient? So definitely at the end of the day, the solution in one hand is what we offer. So I've already mentioned that there are challenges. Immigration law, because there's federal immigration law, there's also a law, you have a lot of ordinances also which specify the law. There are also directives from the Federal Immigration Authority, which we use for our daily work. And of course, as also mentioned, in the 26 cantons, they also have their own procedures or what you need to do first before application can be filed or where it needs to be done. So as your chosen, hopefully chosen immigration provider, will also act as legal experts. My colleague Bridget Alani is an attorney. I also studied law in Switzerland, and I also have a CAS in immigration law. Swiss law was the main topic, and also European law. So I think we're well equipped, and as you have also heard from Federica, she has more than enough experience to deal with all the topics we provide, all the services we provide, whether it is tax, whether it is payroll, whether it is even relocation. I think she's very competitive in that issue, in that aspect. So we also provide guidelines for HR and relocation consultants, in the sense that we say what the brief guidelines, not 20 pages, maybe 3 pages, 4 pages guidelines, what needs to be done to streamline the process. We also do an initial analysis of the situation to find out where we can support. And a very important topic, which we had a lot, which is really a compliance issue, is the labor market checks, which are very time consuming, where the Labor Market Authority checks whether the right work permits are in place, whether the salary is according to the Swiss standard, and all these things. And it's really, the fines might not be too high, but we talk about reputation. The risks are there. Once a company is blacklisted, it's very difficult to get out of it. So we have experienced such things in various cantons, also in German-speaking Switzerland, French-speaking Switzerland, and also overall. And we have, of course, the language to support all this. So our main goal is also, in general, to reduce compliance risks and strengthen trust, I would summarize. So I'll hand over to Friederike, if I'm not mistaken. And so she is the best place to explain, to round this up. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Thomas. So basically what we can be for you is the strategic backbone to help you with all, as Thomas explained, in all the compliance or legal matters, in whether that is now about the process or whatever the need is. We are here and we would like to support you as best as we can from our end. As we think that the today demand by companies as well as by individuals is really to get mostly a very quick, efficient, very flexible solution, and we can help you to create that end-to-end solution in that sense. So whenever there is anything, we kindly ask you to reach out to us, and we are happy to answer you with anything you ask us. As I said, that first session today was based on a relocation initiative from us, where we saw thought that maybe that is something you are happy to have and also need to have or want to have. And we were thinking about in which topics actually are the needs. I mean, we have a certain feeling or we have a certain idea about because of our daily work, but we would like to reach out to you with our next poll, where we will ask you in which topics actually you have issues. We have summarized it to 5 different ones. Looking and maybe you just can quickly tick which one is the one you actually think you would like to have a next session about, or you think you might have the most need of, whether that is immigration, social security, health insurance, tenancy law, tax law, or also like supporting you with hiring domestic workers or other challenges. I'll give it one more second. Okay, so basically, yeah, most of you have already voted, and we see that permit law is something, health insurance and social security, as well as tax law is something you are interested in. So we definitely will come back to you in the next few weeks, months, with a new session. And we're happy to invite you then as well to the next session, which most likely will be, I would say, about immigration, because this morning when we were having the session in German, it was also that immigration is the major topic you would like to have more information about. Time is running out a bit, so I will now just pick 2 questions out of them. One question is, do you also provide support in cases where we have already taken care of parts of the relocation process? Yes, we do. For us, it doesn't really matter whether you maybe have dealt with half of the case or a part of it, and then just need to support on a portion of it or one aspect of it, or you say capacities are now you don't have the capacity for dealing with everything. Please help us with it. No problem at all. Then the other question I just picked is, how quickly can you organize accompaniments for us, as well as in which cantons? Basically, if you would like to have us accompanying your client in different cantons, or for the registration or deregistration, or for whatever thing, we're happy to do so. We try to do it as quickly as we can and at the requested time. Now, if you ask me this morning whether someone can help in the afternoon with an accompaniment somewhere, it is possible, but I can't guarantee you that. It depends a bit on the capacity of the people, and we have a good team, a quite flexible one, but also they are at certain times fully booked. Sometimes we are lucky, or the client is lucky, and we just can accompany them whenever they want. With this, I actually would like to close today's session. We are very honored to have you with us for the last 30 minutes. I hope it is something you enjoyed as well, and we would like to see you at any other next event. And as said, if you have any kind of further questions, then just reach out to us. And the questions which had been written down, which we were not able to now answer, we will definitely reach out to you thereafter, and you get an answer from us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for attending.